Hello, Spartan fans, and welcome to this latest edition of the Michigan State Spartans Insider Podcast. I'm your beat reporter from Michigan State Spartans on SI, Aiden Champion. And Memorial Day weekend. Hope you all are enjoying this wonderful yet cold Memorial Day weekend, unfortunately. For you Michiganders, um, really kind of sucks. It almost feels like football weather. And in that regard, kind of fitting because we're going to be talking some football and we're going to be looking at Michigan State's 2025 schedule, which still a ways out. But what else is there to do in the offseason than discuss football? Because football, for those heavily devoted football fans, it's a topic that never ends year round. And the Spartans, well, there's a lot of questions for Michigan State regarding the football side of things and how Jonathan Smith bounces back from a 5-7 year and if he's able to elevate this program in year two amidst a very tough Big Ten. But fortunately for Michigan State, its schedule is a little different from last year. Two big name opponents are not on it this year, and that will be Oregon and Ohio State. Ohio State, obviously, the reigning national champions in Oregon, the reigning Big Ten champion. Um, Two very big games that Michigan State gets to avoid. Obviously, those two did not pan out well for them last year. Back to back games that they or those two games came back to back, and that was that severely hurt the Spartans. But we're going to be looking at the most notable games on this schedule, and there's some really exciting ones. I want to start Boston College, which week two. You know, I think most fans are looking forward to this one because it's a rematch of last year, and and that you know that devastating loss um, at their place when you know Michigan State had an opportunity to win it at the end, unable to. It was an exciting game, but I feel that loss very much changed the trajectory of the season. Now, I'm not saying you win that and you go on to beat Ohio State and Oregon, but I just feel, you know, you get that win. That was a good Boston College team, if you remember. Um, at the time, they were, they're on a roll, and um, I don't believe they were ranked. Um, no, they weren't, but they had just recently been ranked. Um, but you win that game, you start the year 4-0 in a new regime, and I just feel the excitement's through the roof going into Ohio State week. Again, not saying you win that game, but there's just a renewed, or not renewed, but there's a sense of excitement. There's a sense of, you've got something special here that you can work with, that you can build on. And then I think, maybe I don't know, maybe you feel you deserve to be on the field with Ohio State. Maybe you take them uh, to the fourth quarter in a closer ball game than it was. But I think there were, a lot of the issues that were exposed in that game for Michigan State against Boston College were issues that followed them the rest of the way. So that's one, that I think it's a great opportunity. They're coming to Spartan Stadium. Spartans will have a chance to get their revenge, and assuming assuming they win against Western Michigan in week one, you start the year 2-0, and you got Youngstown State. You've got an opportunity to start 3-0 again. Um, and so I think you got to win that Boston College game, especially with them coming to East Lansing. That's one I think it's going to be a big one, and it will tell a lot about uh, what kind of team Michigan State has, because I don't think you'll learn that necessarily against Western Michigan. But moving on, USC, um, which is 2 games later, and this is exciting. Michigan State gets both USC and UCLA. Uh, hasn't played them yet since they joined the Big Ten. It's been hasn't been since 1990 that the Trojans and Spartans faced off, and that was in the Sun Bowl. Michigan State won that one. USC, didn't have a great year. Hasn't It's kind of been on a fall off um, under Lincoln Riley in recent years, kind of going the opposite direction of where he wants, but they've been, um, doing great in recruiting, and they're expected to really bounce back this season. So, um, you go into that game and um, Spartans potentially, like I said, could be 3-0, have a chance to go 4-0. Um, and um, that'll be in Los Angeles. So, very going to be a very tough game for Michigan State. That one too will say a lot about where they stand somewhat early on in the year. Um, but that'll be an exciting one because USC obviously um, it's a very historic program, and college football looking to get back to prominence, just as Michigan State is. I think both teams will have a chip on their shoulder going into that one. And then 2 games after that, you got UCLA. Those two, I can't believe this, but they haven't played since 1974, which is just unbelievable. We've only faced off 6 times in the all-time series, and that one at Spartan Stadium. Obviously, UCLA now has Nico Iamaleava at quarterback, and that obviously was the big topic of college football back in April, with his uh, holdout with Tennessee, and then transferred to UCLA. Completely flipped, the outlook on how things are going in Westwood. Uh, UCLA, like Michigan State, went 5-7 last year, just barely missed out on a bowl game. They're in the second year of a new regime. Both teams looking to really make a statement in year 2, and that's going to be a tough one. Originally, before the Iamaleava commit, it seemed like that might have been one that was more so in the Spartans' favor, but now maybe not so much. Um, we'll have to see where both teams stand at that point in the year when they face off in East Lansing. And then game after that, Indiana. Obviously, Indiana comes in last year, absolutely dismantles Michigan State. And I think most people, well, a lot of people going in that game were thinking this was a trap game for Indiana. Spartans, perfect opportunity at home to knock off this unbeaten team, prove their frauds. And Indiana just completely um, denotes all of that, and just reigns on the Spartans, and uh, and it was an ugly day. I think at that point, that's where you really lost the fan base last year. Really bad day for Michigan State. Um, but that's going to be another revenge game where you've got an opportunity to say, look, here's a game from last year. Things didn't go our way. We have an opportunity to change the narrative this year, and make a statement here and show that this isn't last year and that we have turned a corner. Um, so that's going to be a big one, but it is on the road, so you're going to have to play some darn good football there. And then obviously the very next game, Michigan. I think we all know why this one is notable, but you got the rivalry, you got the scuffle at the end of last year's game. Michigan's, you know, I think they've gotten better, and they're gonna be looking to take the next step under Sharon Moore. Um, but always an exciting one there, and that will be at Spartan Stadium. Michigan State will be looking to end the drought against the Wolverines. Um, there's a lot of narratives on this schedule. Um, I could point out Iowa and Maryland. Those are the last two games. Both of those Michigan State won. Played some of their best football of the year in those games. Probably the best football of the year in those two games. Definitely against Iowa. Um, but the last one I really want to highlight is Penn State, which is at Spartan Stadium. Um, and we remember how things went last time these two faced off, the season finale of the 2023 season, Ford Field, and Penn State just obliterates Michigan State in just humiliating fashion. Um, and that's it's another revenge game right there, and Penn State's going to be good, very good again this year. Um, Drew Aller back at quarterback, arguably the best quarterback in this conference, and you're going to have to bring your A game in that one. So, still going to be a pretty darn tough schedule, even excluding Ohio State and Oregon. But um, some of these games are winnable, um, but I think you got to get out to a good start, and you got to build on that, get better week in, week out. But this is an exciting schedule. A lot of narratives, a lot of storylines to follow, and um, it's sure to be they're exciting storylines, but it's the state of Michigan football, Michigan State football. I'm hesitant to use the word use the word exciting because I know, geez, oh Pete, my voice voice cracks. I know fans aren't very optimistic right now, um, but these depending on if you get out to a good start, um, if you can win some of the games you're not supposed to, and you find yourself in a solid position to um, you know clinch a bowl game when you get to that second half of the year, then these games get more exciting. Then you'll want to tune in, and they'll mean something. So, would love to know which games you guys are looking forward to. Obviously, you can make a case for just about any of these, but it won't be long before the season's here. So, um, I'm I'm ready for it to get here. I know it's still going to be a while, but um, it sneaks up on you. So, with all that said, guys, have a great Memorial Day and stay safe out there. And we will catch you next time. Thanks as always for tuning in.